Welcome to the Emerge Podcast, where Ronnie Doss shares insights regarding life, leadership, and personal development. For more of our resources, visit ronniedoss.com. Now, let's join the podcast.
Hi there, this is Ronnie Doss. My team and I are really excited that you decided to stop by. You know, I've spent the last decade working with individuals from all over the world to help them transform their thinking and enhance their life experience. Not only do I train teams at some of the most successful companies and organizations in the world, I offer coaching programs specifically designed for individuals much like yourself that are committed to increasing productivity and achieving personal goals. I've had powerful mentors along the way that have taught me principles that absolutely shifted how I was living my life, and those principles I want to share with you. My passion is people, and there's nothing more exciting than seeing a life transformed for the better. This is what I've decided to give my life to. So hop over to ronniedoss.com to check out some of the video programs I personally designed to help you build stronger relationships, improve your communication skills, and develop an intentional mindset. I know these resources will assist you in finding a greater sense of purpose, staying focused on what matters, and breaking through old mental barriers. Get ready. This is your time. So if there's anything that I'm absolutely clear on, that's that every single person has an opinion of everything. And people believe that their opinions are right on the deepest level, even the way that they articulate the idea of their opinion, and that they know that their opinion may not be right. That is still an opinion of what being right actually is. And so we're always sharing from a place of rightness. And that's okay. I don't know where else we would share it from, but the degrees, the varying degrees of rightness are really what are profound to me. Like, I can watch people be angry and face red, veins sticking out in their neck, spitting when they talk, telling everybody how they're supposed to be, and they're pushing their opinion. And I think about, it was a Rumi quote who said, raise your argument, not your voice. Like, raise your thinking, right? Don't have to scream and yell, because if you're screaming and yelling, it's like you're trying to force it. And so raise your argument, right? Raise your thinking instead of raising your voice. And so when I see people that have raised their voice a lot and they're screaming and yelling, I think to myself, maybe they haven't raised their thinking enough to convey the idea, or maybe the words aren't powerful enough to even be whispered. Like, when you can say something that really matters, you don't have to yell it. Like, you don't have to scream it. The word itself, what it conveys, is powerful. You know, words aren't meant to be heard. They're meant to be felt. And if the words are the right words, and if they're articulated really well, they will be felt. Whether you scream that at a really high level or whether you whisper it or not, people get it. And I think when it comes to opinions, this is what our problem is we think that we can lock on to one idea and that be it, and we force it down other people's throat and yell and scream and that they're going to get it. But I think you've found before that if you were to go to a restaurant and find that somebody struggles speaking your language, that if you speak your language louder, it doesn't mean they're going to understand it. And it's really funny to watch that, and I've seen that happen before. And so I just want you to think today, if you would, about areas where we could step in beyond the opinion that we have of the world and even of ourselves. Because you see, there are people that really need to hear this. And I know that's an opinion, but I think for me, I believe that people need to hear this. I've gotten enough feedback from people saying, hey, I stumbled upon this and someone told me to listen to this and it's helped me very much. And so we'll go based off of the results, that the results aren't lying, so to speak. This is very helpful. But you know, there are people that need to hear this that won't listen to it. And I think there's a lot of reasons for that. I think a lot of time people don't want to hear things to provoke their thinking because they'd rather remain blind. And it's like, if I don't know, then there's no accountability. And if there's no accountability, I don't have to do anything different. I don't have to change the trajectory of my day. I just get up, I go to work, do the same thing, and nothing changes. I'm just working for the weekend. Hoorah, that's awesome. And yet 1 week turns into a month, and a month, then 6 months into a year, and that year passes by very quickly. And then another year, and we fall into what psychologists call the habit loop, and that habit loop has been reinforced again and again and again, and now we would say this is who we are, and we form this opinion of ourselves, and then the opinion of the world based on what we call ourselves or say about ourselves and how we see ourselves. And then things don't tend to change very much for us. You know, I think there is some pain that has to happen for progress. And if you run from pain, I've said it so many times, I'll say it again, you run from your potential, But I had a mentor who used to use the word coward a lot. It's kind of an old school term, but he would say things like, he's a coward. And, it was pretty direct. Of course, that was his opinion. But what he was talking about was how people just won't stand up and face the discomfort and the challenges of life head on and be willing to make some adjustments if they would say that they know there's some adjustments that need to be made. And the truth is, most people would say they know there's adjustments that need to be made, changes that need to be made in their life when it comes to their relationships, when it comes to their physical health, when it comes to their money, when it comes to their business, how they are on their job, their teams. There's so many things that they would say need to change. But a lot of times people just don't want to face the discomfort of taking any action because it's like they'd rather stay blind. It's like I want to pretend like it's not there, so I'm not going to be honest. And if I'm not honest about it, if I don't say it's there, it'll just go away. But I heard one guy say that you may not believe in brick walls, but it's going to hurt like hell when you run into one. And that's very true. Remaining blind to something, like looking at your life. If somebody were to come from the outside and you were to hire someone, let's say you hired someone from the outside to come take a look at your life and you were fully open, fully authentic, fully transparent, and you let them take a look at it, and this is someone that you respected, what do you think they would say about your life that you could change? And would you then be willing to do something with the insight that they gave you, that you paid for, that you were honest about saying that you needed a little help, that it was time for something to shift, and you invited them into your life, they looked at it, and they gave you some feedback? Would you then be willing to do something with it, or are you just going to keep doing it the way you've been doing it and telling yourself this is the way that it is? Are you just going to remain blind? Have you bought into your own excuses for so long that now this is normal? Like you create blind spots to the things that you know you need to change. And because you won't change them, you deal with it. You continue to carry it around. It's like a wet blanket at a picnic. You've just got it and it's there and it's uncomfortable for everybody. But it's like, well, there's nothing we can do. It's a wet blanket. It's already wet. And it's like, well, you want to change it? You want to do something different? You want to keep carrying that around? I mean, yeah, it might suck for a minute to not have a blanket, but you got to let the blanket dry. You got to go do something with it. And many times we just keep buying into these excuses, and it's like a wet blanket we carry around. I wonder why people don't listen to stuff like this. I wonder why people remain stuck and allow themselves to stay stuck. It's hard to not remain stuck. It's difficult to keep pushing. It is difficult to keep believing when maybe nobody else believes in you. It's difficult to keep pressing towards the mark when maybe nobody is supporting you. It's difficult, but you know what? I think this is for me personally, and I think most people feel this way. I really do. And yes, this is an opinion, but I really do believe people feel this way, is that there is more in their life that they could be achieving, and they know it. But yet they just conform to this comfortable and complacent way of living for so long that then it becomes who they are, they believe. And it's like pulling the baggage behind you. I've talked about like pulling luggage. You carry luggage for so long. It's like then you're so used to having it, you're looking for it all the time. And if you've been negative and you've operated with this scarcity mindset of, I just get up and I go to work and I come home and then that's it and nothing's going to change. If you do that, then you think that's your life. And then you don't see anything other than what you think is your life. Like you don't pay attention to anything else. You go into the grocery store looking for 3 items. You don't really pay attention to many other items because you know what aisle to go to, where to get it, what it looks like, how to buy it, how much it's going to cost, and then you check out and you go back to your life. This is pretty much how we operate throughout the days. We go and we find what we think we're supposed to find, we get it, and then we go back to our life. And this is our life. And if we're not willing to break out of some of this needing to be so comfortable all the time, and not facing the music that there is more, can be more, and we actually do have the potential within us to create more. If we won't do something with that, then we have already settled. It's like we're already dead. We have died before we're dead. And that's just not something that I believe, for me, I could handle. Like I just couldn't handle it. Settling, I just couldn't do it. Like if I looked around and I was like, I didn't like my surroundings, I couldn't handle it. I'm like, nah, we're doing something about this. I trust that the universe is big enough. There's enough resources, enough people that if I can put my head down and work and create some change and do things a little differently than how I've done it before, then the universe will reward me. For me, that's what's called faith. And if people don't have faith, I mean, they talk about faith, their religious faith. I go to church and I got faith. You don't have faith. You're addicted to comfort. You're addicted to a sugar high. You go get this message, you feel good, then you go right back to doing things the way you've been doing it forever. That is not faith, right? That is comfort. That's complacency. That's a sugar high. That's somebody getting rich telling you what you need to do, and you do it the same way, but yet you don't take any action on anything new. That ain't faith. And so I've been around enough religious institutions and enough people that talk about faith but aren't doing anything any differently that I go, you know what? This is why people don't want to hear this stuff. It's why people don't want to go to church. It's why people don't want to talk about religion. It's because it's gotten such a bad name because people have exploited the word faith, thinking that if I just say I believe something, I don't have to do anything with it and get uncomfortable to create it. I just wait on it to drop in my lap like it's a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. And it's not. It never is, not in any area. The only reason you're going to get to the next level is because you work your butt off to get there. You're willing to make some changes and work smart, not just hard. I know people that work hard, but nothing really changes. You got to work smart. You got to do the work, create some margin, and with that margin, invest into something different and more and go work that. That's the truth of it. I know it's just an opinion and it's mine, and I'm right. I'm right about it. I'm cool. It's like you don't have to agree with this, but I'm clear that there are people that need to hear this but won't listen to it because they've become so comfortable. And now they believe this excuse about themselves, like, well, I just couldn't ever do that now. I'm too old. And you're not too old. None of us are too old. Things can change for you in 6 months. Things can change in a year. Things can change even in a month. I mean, you can change the trajectory of your life by moving, starting something new, put a resume out there, tell someone you're looking for a job. Things can change. It's amazing what can happen. You know, I met my wife, Jen. She was going to come to work for me. And the way that we met, I posted this on social media the other day, but the way that we met was that I sold a property to a guy that I knew. And while we were at the closing table, I said, I need an assistant. I'm looking for an assistant just to run some errands and do some things for me. It was very busy. And I said, I need some support. Well, then he calls, I think, the next day and says, I'm sending somebody to your office for an interview. And then lo and behold, there comes my wife, Jennifer Doss. She walks in. And I interviewed her. She came to work for me. And then we started dating, right? And so then she didn't work for me for long. I'm smarter than that, guys. I'm not stupid. So she stopped working for me. Now I work for her full time. But she stopped working for me. And then, you know, my world was different forever. We've been together 16 and a half years. We got 2 kids. We're creating a great life together. But all because of one conversation of me saying I need some support. You know, how many times are you not saying something that could be different for you because you've just gotten so accustomed to the way things have been? And you're missing the opportunity. And people don't know what you need. People don't even know what you're passionate about because you don't speak up and go, hey, this is what I'm believing for. This is what I'm doing. This is what I want to take on. Nobody knows. You know, how we love people and how they need to be loved oftentimes are very different things. And if you don't speak up for what you want, then maybe nobody's going to know. If you don't speak up about what you want, maybe you don't even know what you want. I mean, I heard Jordan Peterson one time say, he goes, sometimes you got to talk to find out what it is that you think. So you can't be afraid of speaking and saying, hey, this is what I'd like to create. This is where I'd like to live. This is what I'd like to have. This is how I'd like my relationships to be. This is how I'd like my physical health to be. This is what I'd like to create, where I'd like to go. What, you speaking those things, or have you gotten so used to your life that you won't even speak it? You know, you're afraid of even speaking up. Because some people, I think, won't speak up and admit to an outcome they would like to have because they've already decided they would never achieve it. They don't want to be disappointed because they know they're going to tear themselves down. And so guess what they do? They just keep their mouth shut and don't say anything. Just go through the motions. And I know it's easy to do, and we can all do it at some level. It's easy to allow the pressures and the chaos and the change and the transitions and all the stuff that's going on around us to cause us to go, well, I guess this is the way it's going to be. But this is not the way it's going to be. Not in your life and not in anybody listening to this podcast. It doesn't have to be that way. I don't care who you are, how old you are, what your excuse is. It doesn't have to be that way. But it'll be that way to the extent that you need it to be that way because you got to be right? Because your opinion of you is right. You've already made it up. You know. But somebody else comes in from the outside, sees something you don't see because you're blind to it and says, hey, maybe you could do this, but you won't do it. Why? Because you're so used to doing it the way you've been doing it. You like that. You're so self-righteous sometimes in your opinion. I can be that way too. So self-righteous, like I'm right. This is what God wants for me. You don't know what God wants for you. You have no idea. Maybe you'd find out if you take some new action, some bold, massive action, see what's out there for you, and a resource shows up that you didn't know was there. Maybe you'd go, wow, maybe God did want this for me, and I just didn't even know. You got to do the work, right? The old saying, you got to pray like it's all up to God, but you got to work like it's all up to you. Do that, right? Whatever God is to you, you work. Set some goals, right? Small, tangible, bite-sized steps that you can move into, some benchmark goals you can move towards, some outcomes that you want, and do the work. Stop trying to not face the music. Stop trying to walk on the fringe or on the edge and stay comfortable. Do some work. Do something different. Stop buying your old story. You look around, you don't like what you see, change it. You don't like where you live, change it. You don't like your income amount, change it. Get a side hustle. Do something you can change. Keep growing. Keep pushing this thing forward, or else you're stuck and you have wasted. And I would bet people are so proper in this. Every day's a gift from God. Really? Then why are you wasting it? Why are you wasting your days? Right? Why do you keep doing the same thing you've been doing? Huh? Why you won't shift? You won't change. You won't innovate. You won't reinvent. You won't reset. You won't recommit. You won't do anything new. You're just doing the same old thing. But yep, every day's a gift. No, show us it's a gift. Show us that you believe it. Yes, every day is a gift. Sometimes that gift is really, really, really difficult to unwrap. But you know what? You have it in you. No matter what you believe, no matter how long you've been telling yourself this story of complacency and scarcity and lack and all that stuff, you can tell yourself that, but it's just not true. It's as true as you need it to be to uphold your story, your image, your picture of who you are. This is where I stand. I know this is just my opinion, but I do believe it's a very accurate one. And so maybe on this Friday, you take a little bit of this, you reset something, you recommit to something, you decide to reinvent yourself in some way, change up your approach, and you create something new. And then as you do it, you like your life just a little better. You look in the mirror, you respect yourself just a little more, and you have a little better life experience, and you feel like what you're doing is a little more significant and that it matters. And it does matter. Let me tell you right now, the world needs you to step up more than ever before to do something. Maybe it's just to one person, step up, encourage, do something. You can do it and lead by example. The world needs all of us right now more than ever. Hands down, it needs all of us more than ever. And we can do it. I know we can do it. We've overcome challenges before. We can do it again, but it's going to take all of us stepping up. Those people that are hearing something like this, we got to step up and do something. And I would say you start by figuring out what excuses you've created, what you've told yourself, and then realize that they're all lies. It's all made up. And you can make up a new story. You can grab the pen. You can start writing a new story at any moment, right? Right where you are is an entryway into something new. It's an entryway. It's a door. And if you're willing to push the door open by thinking a little differently, asking yourself some tough questions, and then taking some action, you can bolt through that door to another level and see things you haven't seen yet. And you're worth that. When you get it, you'll do the work. You're worth it. I don't care what anybody said. You're worth it. So do the work. This is Ronnie Doss. Hope this wasn't too much of a rant for you. This is Friday, right? So happy Friday. Know that you're loved. Please share this. Hey, our numbers are spiking. I keep saying that. It's incredible. We're getting such good feedback. That's exciting for me. We do put a lot of time into creating these and sharing this, and I got a lot of things happening in my life. Very busy husband, dad, business owner, traveling, speaking, coaching. Like some days it just doesn't let up. But I care about you, and I care about how we're doing as a people. I really do. So please share this, subscribe to it, rate it, however you want to do it. But know I appreciate you, and I appreciate who you are, and that we got a lot of work to do, and we're going to do it. God bless you guys. I'll talk to you soon.